This video has been funded in part by the Guild via Patreon. Check out the links in the description or at the end of this video for more details.
Hello everybody, my name is Gildart, and I finally got the chance to play the Japanese demo for Dynasty Warriors 9 Empires. And not only that, I have the capability of playing this on multiple consoles, so without further ado, let's jump into it. Let me preface this all by saying something I think most of you know about me, and that's that I don't really like Dynasty Warriors 9 to begin with. Now before you jump off of this video, I'll let you in on why. I saw the potential that Dynasty Warriors 9 had. An open world hack and slash game based in the Romance of the Three Kingdoms, that game could have been amazing. I was happy to hear CAWs say that they would potentially explore the foundations Dynasty Warriors 9 laid in its own series, while going back to the roots of Dynasty Warriors with the next entry. I just wasn't expecting them to make Dynasty Warriors 9 Empires stage by stage. Before we go too far into this, let's talk about how the Dynasty Warriors 9 Empires demo plays. Now, if you're gonna play this demo on PlayStation or Switch, it'll be difficult to understand what's going on at first because it's all in Japanese. But if you go to the Japanese Microsoft Store on your PC, log into your usual Xbox profile, then add it to your library there, you'll be able to install it on your console. On top of that, you can set your language to English and bam, you have access to an English demo. This only works on Xbox as far as I can tell, and the good news is that an official English demo will be making its way to all consoles before the full game's release in the West. So if you don't have an Xbox, you'll just have to wait a little bit for an English demo to release. Unfortunately, no PC demo at this time. Dynasty Warriors 9 Empires brings back the rock, paper, scissors aspect of Dynasty Warriors 8's weapons, but it's not connected to your weapons this time around. Depending on the character, their unit type will be infantry, cavalry, or archer. This works where infantry beats cavalry, which beats archers, which beats infantry. If you're playing in a language that you don't understand, the only thing that would tip you off is this icon in the pause menu. You also won't know how to combat a unit type you're weak against. In this demo, I found it relatively noticeable when you are weak against another unit. You'll see a barrier pop up when an enemy unit is strong against yours. How you counter this is by pairing with an allied officer. While paired, you become their unit type. I do kind of wish you could just switch weapons or even just switch characters, because I just don't like the idea of fighting like you normally would, running into a large group of enemies that counter your unit type, then having to run away to find an ally with the unit type that either matches or beats theirs. It would have been a smoother flowed combat to just be able to pause, tell the character you're playing as to retreat, then switch to another character. Or, of course, just switch weapons to a unit type that isn't weak against those enemies. This brings me to another point. I found time and time again that the enemy officers, after respawning after being defeated, would just chase after me. I don't know what difficulty this demo is on because it doesn't let you select a difficulty, but it doesn't feel like normal to me. Foot soldiers go down with ease, but officers are massive damage sponges. And when they all swarm around you, it can make it pretty hectic. I also find that sometimes your attacks will go through enemy attacks and vice versa. It doesn't really feel right on either side. It's been a while since I last played Dynasty Warriors 9. In fact, it was the comparison video with Dynasty Warriors 6 when I last played, so I don't really remember this happening. On top of your usual base seizing hack and slash combat you'd expect from an Empire's title, you can make use of secret plans by holding down the left bumper and pressing one of the directional buttons. These kind of replace the strategies of the older Empires games. When used, you must wait for the cooldown time before using it again. In the demo, you have an explosion mapped to up, a recovery mapped to right, attack ×2 mapped to left, and I can't quite figure out what down does, but I think it recovers your Muso. You can't change these in the demo, and I'm not sure if you can change them period, but I have a feeling you will be able to change them. Otherwise, this wouldn't be the best replacement for the previous strategies in Dynasty Warriors 7 and 8 Empires. You also have to watch out for enemies using secret plans. When they try to activate one, you'll have to complete a task like taking over 3 specified bases to avoid the secret plan from activating. This task is made that much harder because you can't take over a base if there is an enemy officer in it. If you happen to be swarmed by officers, well, good luck trying to stop that secret plan. At first, I lost quite a few times, but once I started playing on Xbox and had the English tutorial to give me the rundown of the new mechanics, I started winning even on Switch. Unfortunately, the only time I recorded a win on Switch, I had visual glitches, so I couldn't upload that to the second channel, and the other times I had recorded all the way up to my loss also had visual glitches. Oh well. The main point is that the new mechanics like the unit types and the secret plans are very important to helping you achieve victory. or defeat. The other thing you may have noticed when I pause is that there are no lines connecting these bases. I don't know why, but Dynasty Warriors 9 Empires uses bases almost to help with morale than to create a supply line to the enemy main camp. I both like and dislike this. The positive aspect of it is that battles happen between camps just as often as it happens inside. With some Empires games, I find you rarely fight groups of enemies on your way to the next base. That being said, I don't really like it because it takes away some key aspects of the Empire's combat. I'm not saying it can't continue without it, but it seems like the combat isn't quite an Empires game and more like a spin-off with Empire's qualities. I also want to talk about some small things I noticed while playing the game. There is no sprint button. Sprinting happens naturally by running for a short period of time. This happens both on foot and on horseback and is a plus in my books. I also noticed that the Switch game doesn't look too bad for graphics, but doesn't really run the greatest. I didn't really know what to expect because we only ever saw Dynasty Warriors 9 on PS4 and Xbox One at worst. Though it doesn't really run the greatest during combat, I didn't really expect it to. Warriors games always struggle to run overly well on Switch. The only ones that seem to run super well have been One Piece Pirate Warriors 3, Fire Emblem Warriors, and Hyrule Warriors. Samurai Warriors 5, Warriors Odyssey 4, and this game don't really run the greatest. Age of Calamity is kind of the middle ground where it has some odd issues, but nothing that you should find breaks the experience at all. I haven't had a chance to try Dynasty Warriors 8 Extreme Legends or One Piece Pirate Warriors 4, nor have I been able to try any of the Japanese exclusive Warriors games on Switch to compare this to, but I would probably say that Dynasty Warriors 9 Empires runs the worst on Switch compared to all Warriors games so far. Hopefully with some tweaks and post-release patches, this game can run a little bit more smoothly. Luckily, the Japanese release is 2 months away from the English release, so they might be able to work out some of the kinks before we even get it. Finally, I'll talk about the custom characters. Just like has been advertised, this is the most in-depth edit mode we've seen in a Warriors game. This is a far cry from what we experienced in Dynasty Warriors 4. In the demo, the clothing options are quite limiting, but not something that's super discouraging. I'm fairly certain we're going to see a lot of people making other game and anime characters in this system. I did my best to make myself in the PS4 version, but there's no faux hawk option, at least not in the demo. That was disappointing, but there was a side-shaved ponytail, which was close enough for me. You can also play as Xiao Yun, Zhao Shu, Cheng Pu, Xin Xianying, and Dong Bai. These are also the only weapons you can give your custom character in the demo. You can also assign the unit type you want to your custom character. I like that it's not connected to the specific weapon you're giving them. It can be fun to go into battle with someone you've just created, and I actually can't wait to dive into the character creator and try to make some of the other faction characters I'd like to see become unique, like Zhang Jiao's brothers, Yan Liang, Wen Chou, Yu Biao, Gun Shenzan, and Ma Teng. The officer swap option is also here from the previous Empires titles, so you'll be able to set your custom character model to take over a generic one. All in all, the combat of the demo just doesn't really blow me out of the water, and I wasn't really expecting it to either. You only have access to a slight action tutorial, an invasion battle, and a defensive battle. I'm not really a fan of the Dynasty Warriors 9 combat, but what I've experienced with the custom characters has me excited for that aspect of this Empires game. I'm also interested to see how they carry over all of the between battle politics from the previous games. Once I started understanding the gameplay mechanics, I was having a bit more fun with Dynasty Warriors 9 Empires, but it never really hit me that this was the next big Warriors experience. It just kind of feels like a stepping stone we need to make before we really jump into the next era of my favorite franchise. I wouldn't say it's really worth it to go installing this Japanese demo if you don't have access to a Japanese account already or you don't understand the Japanese language. Just wait for the English demo to drop, you won't be missing out on much. If you also want to know, I'll be playing this on the Xbox One X when I go to do my mini review. But if you want to have a look at the graphics comparison, I did post one on my second channel. Now, I'm not going to necessarily score the demo. What I will rate is how hyped it got me for the game. When Dynasty Warriors 9 Empires was announced, I would probably score it at a 2 out of 10. Just a simmer of, oh cool, this is gonna happen. Then, as more news came out, it crept up to about a 6 out of 10. This demo kind of went both ways. The combat being kind of similar to Dynasty Warriors 9 brought it down a bit, and my gripes around the mechanics brought it down a bit more, but the character creation and actually bringing those characters into battle brought me back up, and I think it's still keeping me at a 6 out of 10 for hypeness. I'm looking forward to actually playing the full game, though I don't expect it to become my favorite Warriors game of all time. I'm going to hold off on talking about what I'd like to see in Dynasty Warriors 9 Empires for now, because I'll probably talk about that in a future video once the game has finally been released. Anyways, everybody, that's my thoughts on the Japanese demo for Dynasty Warriors 9 Empires. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like and subscribe for more. What are your thoughts on the demo, and how do you feel about Dynasty Warriors 9 Empires? Let me know in the comments below, and if you'd like to help support this channel and what I do here, you can join the guild just like these awesome people that you're seeing on screen. Right now, you can join them at the end of every single video for just $1 a month. There's other rewards and other tiers as well, so check out the links that you see on screen, and I will see you all down in the comments.